Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, another one of my YouTube videos on my When in Court channel. More current events and another ballot initiative in California, Prop 21. And again, just like the earlier video, the issues are the same no matter what jurisdiction you're in. And now they want to have a rent control measure sponsored by corporate landlords, which should tell you already which way we will be going on this one, to allow them basically to increase rent in given circumstances, and apparently for the first 3 years, do it as much as 15% in order to get a fair return on investment. Well, as usual, they're forgetting a few things here. Corporate landlords, and we're not talking mom and pop here, who are not subject to this, but who are subject to free market standards, have no such thing as a fair market return on investment. They're artificial corporate entities created by government. In other words, they're the agents of our government agents, and all they have are privileged amounts of taxable income, nothing more, nothing less. And yet here they want to get a ballot initiative to allow them to make a fair return on investment. So they kick the rent up, say 5% in a year or more. How does that make any sense with quote unquote tenants, otherwise known as members of the sovereign body politic of the nation and republic, who have creator endowed inalienable rights secured by the Constitution? How are we supposed to handle that? Do we go to our quote unquote employer and ask for a raise to cover the full amount of the rent, if not a little bit more, and for the same reasons? We would be in a much better position to do it, particularly considering that almost all of us were fraudulently induced into an employer-employee relationship, quote unquote, that does not exist. And the employer, particularly an artificial corporate entity, IBM, Chase Bank, whatever, knew or should have known from day one it was dead on arrival. These are the kinds of issues we have to get in front of the courts, especially juries, get into a judicial court, get them in front of juries, because they can't beat us on any of them, and make these arguments. And juries are going to respond to this. They're going to understand, and we're going to tell them they have the right to rule on the facts and the law in our case. And as a matter of fact, we can keep artificial corporate entities and their goddamn attorneys out of our courts. With my document package, you're going to get some updated documents on what I call a recusal motion, a summary recusal motion for all attorneys and all judges. They can't be in our case because they have vested interest, otherwise known as irreconcilable conflicts of interest, against the issues we're presenting, because they all challenge what I call the malevolent monopoly of the state bar on the practice of law. So it gets real interesting in a hurry when you start to do this kind of thing, instead of going in there with that civil rights crap from the non-existent 14th War Amendment. Get off it, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. The amendment doesn't exist, the rights don't exist, and they were never designed to be there. And by doing what you're doing, you're on the backs of your own people, staying in positions of power by invoking federal, regional, martial law rule. Enough already. Put the real issues in there, we get some real results, and we get a much improved government. Won't be perfect, but it's going to be a hell of a lot better than we have now. Less expensive, more efficient, and local responsible parties that we can address in government, or get their ass out of office at the next election when we have meaningful elections. That's what I'm aiming to get before I go out of here. 8 or 10 years with a little luck, maybe a little longer, who knows? But I'll be around for a little while the way it looks here. So that's what we need to do. That's what I can teach you to do. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll send you information about my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. You can learn the real issues, arm yourself, teach your children and your posterity, and get them out from under before they even have to confront this crap. That's the whole point of doing it. Just like the framers of the Constitution did, to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. That's what I'm trying to do 225 years later. So that said, we have some real good shots, an unprecedented window of opportunity with all this COVID crap going on right now, and the federal regional martial law that the de facto national socialist government needs to stay in business. So we have some shots here and a window. unprecedented to get our issues out there and hopefully get them before a jury or get them before the old 9-0 farts, the U.S. Supreme Court, and demand they do their sanctimoniously self-proclaimed duty to say what the law is. Marbury versus Madison. Come on, guys, you haven't done it in 150 years. Why not? That said, we certainly want to vote against this Prop 21 if you're in California and if you're a voter, which of course I'm not. That's motor voter, and I don't belong to either. But no sense giving these corporate landlords more power than they already have. And all they have to do, for Christ's sake, is go to the legislature, which they control, and get tax relief, passed for them so they can write things off as losses. What's hard about that? And that way, very little, if anything, in the way of rent increases, we stay where we are, and the world turns a bit better with that focus in mind. Of course, long term, what we want to do is take the state legislatures, quote unquote, back from the artificial corporate entities and get it back to where it belongs, right here. Local government that we control, we instruct our representatives. If we don't like them, we get them the hell out of there. Much better system. So that said, a no on 21 if you're a voter is going to be a real good thing. And we'll see what develops down the road from here. As I said, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll send you information on my document packets and some bonus documents and get you up to speed. So like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The more of us that do this and across a wide spectrum, Americans, Asians, and Africans, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. Thank you.